What internet marketing expert should you spend your valuable time listening to? Listen to someone who has over 20 years of web marketing experience and hundreds of website marketing success stories. That man is Aaron Sparks from Site Strategics. And this is Edge of the Web Radio.
Speaking of educator, we've got Mark Schaefer, who is a digital marketing expert inside of social media and search engine optimization. He's an author of 3 best-selling marketing books. Mark's book, The Tao of Twitter, is the best-selling book on Twitter in the world. So we're
and
very
it's
happy.
more than 140 characters.
But that's just each page, right? No, it's fantastic to be able to have you on board here. We were talking about some of the part of the article that you just wrote here, Mark, about the physics of social content and understanding that there's a heck of a lot of variables that are kind of affecting and pushing against being effective in communicating. There's a speed up, a exponential growth of content out there. There's a limited bandwidth of what company resources they have to even put towards social media. Can you continue your thought about what the solutions are that you foresee in the near future?
Well, we already talked about, number one, how do we cut through the clutter? How do we become the signal instead of the noise? And one way is to be better. Number two, we talked about maybe making our content smaller and more digestible for people who are starved for time. And the third idea is if we don't have that big pipeline anymore, maybe we can borrow someone else's pipeline. And this is one of the reasons why the marketing trend of influence relations, influence marketing, has become so popular now. And this is really what I wrote my book, Return on Influence, about. It's a very exciting time where anybody can have a voice. I mean, the reason I'm on your show today is because you found me through my blog. I chose to write. I chose to publish, and that's why I'm here today. So in a way, influence has been democratized. We have these free, easy-to-use publishing tools now, like Facebook and Twitter and blogs, where everybody can share their voice. Now, because of that, we can also become influential in our niche. Maybe we like to blog about sports or cooking or entertainment or movies or whatever our hobby, whatever our passion might be. And so that's why companies and brands are now really interested in finding those people, because they have another pipeline that we can now access. So let's say you're Nike and you're just not getting the response to your advertising as much as you used to, because maybe people aren't watching network television as much anymore. Maybe they're not reading the print version of Sports Illustrated or something like that to see your ads. Now, if there is a very influential blogger about working out, sports equipment, sports technology, wouldn't it be great if they would say, hey, I just tried this Nike Fuel Band, and it is the coolest thing I've ever seen. So how do we create that organic advocacy that is going to be better than any advertisement we could ever take out? So this is kind of the third idea, is if our pipeline is now constricted, can we now look to other people's pipelines to get our message out?
Absolutely. There's got to be a way to be able to sift through and guide our direction on how to find those particular advocates that don't get us on the rocky shores of paid endorsements and transactional environments there, because that certainly can destroy a brand as opposed to lift it up and get it championed by tribe leaders in those spaces,
I'm glad you brought that up, because it really is an entirely new discipline. But it's not rocket science. And it because all you have to do is remember that you're building business relationships with human beings. So if I met you at a live meeting, at a Chamber of Commerce meeting or some other networking meeting, and this actually happened to me. This actually happened to me last week. This company called me up out of the blue and wanted me to write blog articles about their shoes.
Oh my!
Nice.
Their shoes. Now, I don't write about shoes. I am not a fashionista.
Wow.
I write about business and marketing and technology and kind of how this intersects with humans. And so now, can you imagine me coming up to you just out of the blue at a live networking meeting and demand that you write about my product on your blog? You'd say, who the heck is this person, and how do I get away from you as fast as possible? So we've got to remember that bloggers and these other online influencers, they're real people, and they care about what they do, and they want to be acknowledged. They want to have some sort of relationship with you. Mm-hmm. Now, here's another idea. I've had, when people come onto my blog and they comment on my blog, and they make an authentic attempt to get to know me through Twitter. At that point, when they start to build a relationship with me, you know what? I'll do anything I can to help them out. And so that's really the right way to go about it. It's the way we've always done business. We do business and we help those that we have a relationship with, that we know, that we trust, that are trying to become friends with us. And that's how the business world has always worked, and that's how it works online as well. And we can't forget that.
Mark, I also, you mentioned your blog. That's a great example because this particular article, we're talking about the physics of social media. You have 72 comments, and what I really enjoy about your blog is the fact that the commentary in its own right can be as informative and helpful, if you will, as the actual thoughts that you've put into the blog, and it becomes something bigger than the sum of its parts, if you will. So you're absolutely spot on with that, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I try to create an environment where people feel safe leaving a comment, even if they disagree with me. And I try not to be cranky, but in the spirit of being authentic, sometimes I am cranky. but I try to reward people and thank them and tell them they're appreciated because they are. It's a gift. I mean, when you think about, I'm amazed every day that people spend this precious gift of their time commenting on my blog. I think it's amazing. I'm just humbled every day. So, and I do appreciate that, and I do try to help people who become part of my blog community because they deserve it. We're all kind of in it together. So when there's opportunity to help each other, let's do it.
Mark, it seems we've gone through a lot here. We've gone through the challenges and then the possible solutions. It seems to me you're talking to the geek now, and I'm the technology guy. It seems like that technology seems to be following the trend, but not keeping up with it as well. And that's that, the tools are getting more sophisticated and the tools are helping us, let's say, find followers, find, other brands that have matching demographics and behaviors with ours. But they're still just not there yet. It seems like we have to have, Aaron and I always talk about, we have this Swiss Army knife of applications that we have to subscribe to, to get anything done on a given day, with efficiency. Where do you see technology playing a role with this?
Yeah, that's a really fascinating question. It's one I've been thinking a lot about because if you think about this very simple idea that Google is rewarding originality, and to be original, whether you're a company, whether you're a brand, or whether you're an individual, you have to dig deep down and offer yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's at the end of the day, that's the only source of competitive advantage you have, because there's only one you. You have to reach down and have the courage to really to be yourself, to connect with your audience in an authentic way, in a human way. I think it's one of the most interesting transitions is that when the whole social media movement began, this was clearly at its heart, that people were clearly at its heart, and the early pioneers were all about, it's all about, you and your message. It's not about selling. It's not about advertising. And then we kind of lost our way.
Yeah.
As because look at Twitter now. It's becoming more like broadcasting. If you look at Facebook, and so the big companies are trying to find ways to automate and use technology.
Absolutely correct.
And every time they do, Google hits them back.
Yep.
It's
hit them
back.
back.
Yeah.
They hit them back, and they say, no, it's not going to be automated. We want great, original, helpful content. So I don't know what the answer is, because, there is this tension about creating something great, creating something useful, and yet, on a practical level, you've got to be able to scale that some way. Even engagement, you've got to be able to scale that in some way. So I think it's a fascinating question. I don't know what the answer is going to be, because, the companies keep looking for a technological solution. And I think if you look at the moves that Google has made, they're really rewarding human solutions.
That's right. It's contrary to what marketing tries to do, and they're forcing us to be more authentic, more original, and ultimately, to your point, real. And that's where the core of social engagement, even the personalities of business, corporate vision and values take hold. There's no way to game it, and we've talked about that again and again, Mark. It's the truth in advertising. It's the truth in marketing. No longer can the old regimen of spin work. It's cutting straight to the core of companies as well as individuals. Well, Mark, we wanted to thank you so much for coming on board here. We are very respectful of your time. If you want to find out about Mark's books, where can we find that? We have the Tao of Twitter. We also have a number of other books that you've got. You want to go ahead and tell us about that real quick?
Well, and the Tao of Twitter is a little confusing, because the correct pronunciation is Tao, but it's spelled T-A-O, like Tao.
See, I got that right.
It's a Chinese word that means path.
Right.
And so that's what I have enjoyed writing about the book, is it really kind of shows the human path to social media success. And I've got Return on Influence, which talks about how do we now create power and influence in an online world. And then my latest book is called Born to Blog, which I co-wrote with Stanford Smith. And it's kind of like a Tao-like book, a simple book about a path toward blogging success. You can find all of these books on Amazon.
Fantastic.
You can find them on my website, businessesgrow.com. And that's where you'll find my blog as well.
Hey, if you want to follow Mark, it's Mark W. Schaefer, Schaefer. You want to follow him. He's got a great following. He also is regularly contributing and talking about just these very principles. Thank you so much for being with us these few segments, and we certainly will be following in the near future.
You're listening to Edge of the Web Radio with Aaron Sparks. We're online with exclusive podcasts, the latest web news, and links at edgeofthewebradio.com.